Hello again guys, my name is Łukasz Mazurek and you're watching part 2 of Macaw beta review. If you haven't seen part 1, I recommend you watch it. You can find the link in the description below the video. Just before we begin with responsive design aspects of Macaw, I'd like to show you a small feature of Macaw's canvas and capabilities. You might have noticed in part 1 that when I scrolled down from the top, the beta tag remained fixed in its place. There also appeared some info text next to it, whereas all the content slided neatly below a faded curtain. This type of fixed position elements are really easy to create in Macaw simply by setting positioning type to fixed and then playing around inside the outline pane to set elements order. Okay, in the last video I showed you around Macaw's interface. Now it's time for some responsive design, and what better way to show it than using a live example. Here's an example of news section for a fictional site. I've intentionally left it partly unfinished, so you can see some more actual design workflow in Macaw. Okay, let's start with finishing the design for desktop version of the site. First, we'll choose some nice photo for the main article spotlight. I will resize the image to fit the desired container. Let's move it in the outline so it's below the title, and remove that placeholder container. Now I will adjust it, and we can choose to crop the photo holding Command. Now let's make the title background transparent. It's really easy to do that in Macaw because it supports RGBA. It's much better now. Let's group the title and the box together and group the photo along with them. Okay, that's great. Let's make sure that the image is 100% width of the parent container. It will be useful later. We'll create another news entry now, but let's adjust that image a bit first. I've heard that Adobe is actually terrified by Macaw's popularity and are hiring web experts now. I think I've even found a photo of one during concept work. Let's use it. Okay, let's place it nicely, resize it a bit. Okay, also I want to fix the X position and change width to percentages for later. I want to make sure all images have percentage widths. Let's start grouping all the elements together and also make sure they are positioned correctly. Let's group the news section and now also the first column. Let's group them together. Let's save and preview. Okay, it looks fine, but I actually would prefer it not to be resizable, at least on the desktop. So let's fix that. We'll set the container's width to pixels. Much better now, but it's not centered. So let's center it, preview. Oh, that's perfect. The desktop version is ready. Let's focus on the responsive part now. We'll start by adding a breakpoint below 960 pixels because that's the width of our main container, and it will break out of the layout below that value. Content could actually take more than 80% of the canvas width now. Let's set up the grid at 90% to make it easier to align elements. As you can see, a blue outline appeared outside of grid width field. It's indicating that this property has different values under other breakpoints. If we click the value, we get a nice pop-up that tells us more about breakpoints and their values. We can even switch to another breakpoint or mirror its value from there. It's quite handy. Now, the main content should be also set to 90%. We'll move News Items section below the Featured Article section first. Next, we need to resize main photo to fill available space. Okay, I'm not saying I don't like this composition, but we've definitely lost focus of our device. Let's edit this image's mask. Much better now, all important elements are back in the shot. Let's make the news section full width as well. I'm gonna adjust the images to fit the grid. Okay, now this one. Well, that one will be tricky. Let's see. Okay. Alright, it seems to work. Now let's move the footer a bit to the bottom, just by nudging. Okay, looks alright. Let's preview. And it looks quite fine. There are small irregularities, especially when I try to resize, but well, I think you get the idea. One thing I'm gonna adjust is the bottom padding for the footer, so we have some spacing before the page ends. Let's set it at 20 to preview. It looks alright. Okay guys, that's it for part 2. In the next part of this review I will discuss code output and also share my thoughts on current Macaw applications. So what type of sites can you do with it and where you'll need some other apps to make the job done. If you like it, please rate and comment. You can also subscribe, as more content will definitely pop up in the future. Thanks for watching and take care.